Hello everyone and welcome back to my studio. Today I'm going to be continuing to work on Junk Journal January 2024. I have my journal here and it's day 9. The prompt is foliage. And I'm going to try to use both pages. And I think part of the reason, at first I thought, well, when I think of foliage, I think of green, but this gold and there's little leaves and that counts as foliage. So that's what I'm going to do. But the first thing, before I do that, I'm going to stencil this whole page. So I think I'm going to actually take another piece of paper to cover this one. And this is a very loved stencil, in case you didn't know. And I'll squeeze out a little paint. And the paint that I'm using is Island Parrot. It's a Dilutions paint from Diane Reevely. And what I'm going to say to you is if you have done some stenciling and you find that the paint always runs underneath the stencil and you just are frustrated because if you're a perfectionist like me and then you lift the stencil, now watch me lift the stencil and I'm going to look like I'm telling you fibs. Okay, so there we go. See, I have one place where it ran because I kept lifting the stencil. So that's a me problem, but look at that. Got a bigger leaf. Nobody will ever know. Okay, so I'm going to flip the stencil over. See this blob where it went under? I had too much paint in that spot. I'm just going to flip the stencil. One of the things that makes me love this particular paint is it's very thin. This and you don't need a lot of it. And probably the best thing for anyone who works in a journal or a junk journal, the paint dries really fast. I mean, really fast. It's great because I tend to work kind of fast. I also tend to have like 3 different journals open and I go from journal to journal. Now, I do have enough of these that I could change, but I have 3 colors of green and I'm working from light to dark and it's me. I'm using it for this. I don't care if the colors mix a little bit. So for those of you that are, you know, a little bit stunned by this, it's okay. Because again, this is not going to be hanging in a museum. So you can see, other than where this went under and right here, this is dry. This is why I love this, because you can just go for it. So now I'm gonna put some viney things here. And the best way to do this, and hopefully the problem is, you know, when you try to show somebody a stencil, your hand's covering. I'll try to do it like this. You just get your paint on there and then you kind of rub around. And you can even do a couple of coats. See, that wasn't perfect, but it's okay. We're not going for perfection. I just wanted some foliage on my page. And up here, I'm going to do it again. I took one of Diane's classes and it was wonderful to watch her because she goes so fast and she doesn't get upset if it's not perfect. And I loved that. I was like, wow, I need to be more like that. So I'm trying to embrace that. So there we go. We have some foliage on the background. Okay, and then I'm going to let that dry just a little. And then on this page over here, I have a couple things. So this, I printed, I could kind of show you, I printed some flowers from my garden. And I know that, you know, I didn't look up the definition of foliage. I know somebody's probably going to say, oh, it's supposed to be only leaves and green stuff. I don't know. Maybe not. But this is the magnolia tree that is outside of my art room window in the spring. This is my view. I get to see this beautiful, beautiful tree. And push that all the way to the edge. Oh, well. Okay. So there we go. Put that one down. And basically this green is just my background, you know, so that was the other reason why I knew that it didn't have to be perfect, because if we're talking about foliage and we usually think about the color green, then it's okay. This paint was wet. You can actually use paint, acrylic paint, as glue. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it all the time, but if you have something and you want to stick it down and you have wet paint there, you can stick it in the paint. So there we go. And that's sealed in. So this is bloodroot. These are my spring flowers. I'm looking at what I've got here because I photographed them in spring. I really want this. This is a Jack in the Pulpit. And I kind of want it to come up out of here, and can I do that? Is that enough of it? Let's see what we can do here. All right, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm just gonna put a bunch of matte medium on, and then I'm gonna figure it out. That's right above that. Okay. And then I'm sort of guessing at where that goes. I'm sort of guessing at that angle. Oh, that one goes further. I'm taking some liberties here, you know. Look at that green going down there. And I might not even need that. I don't think I need that. Okay. So now I've got my Jack in the Pulpit. I live in the woods. It's very peaceful. Most people don't even know there's a house back here because we're like way off the road, and there are jack in the pulpits all over. So I'm in the Midwest, so these are Midwest woodland flowers. So let's see here. Here are some more flowers here. These are some calla lilies, or not calla lilies. Oh my gosh, my menopause brain. That is what I call it. And if you are about my age, you will know exactly what I said. That fog, you know, menopause brain. Trilliums. This is actually the state flower of Illinois. And this is the white trillium, and these bloom all over. And this is a tomcat, and his name is Skinny Finny, because no matter how much he eats and what he does, he stays skinny. And he is my son's cat. And my son, you can see him. I guess a lot of people, they may call him a tuxie, but my son calls him a cow kitty. So when people say, I have a cat, and Julian, you know, will tell them about his cat, and they say, what kind of cat is that? And he says, it's a cow kitty, like it's a Persian. So this is our cow kitty, and we paused here so I could do some fussy cutting. And I'm gonna stick the kitty in here somewhere because kitty deserves to be in here. Maybe up here. One more kitty story. I'm sorry if you're a dog person. My dad has 8 brothers and sisters, and my Uncle Joe, who has a lot of plumbing experience, he came over and he replaced faucets for us when we bought a new house. And we took him a gift and a thank you note, and I took my son. And when we got to his house, taped on the front door was an index card, you know, about this big, and it said, beware of killer cat. And my son said, Mom, what is that? He has a killer cat? And so we went in, and my Uncle Joe, there was a stray that just kept showing up, and he started feeding it, and then he brought it in the house, and it became his best friend, but it only liked him. And it was just a tomcat. I mean, but you would have thought it was a Siamese because, you know, Siamese cats tend to have one person that they love. So my son was so tickled by that, that for Christmas, I owned a paint-your-own pottery studio for years. And for Christmas, he asked if he could make Uncle Joe a sign for his door. And so we used just a blank 6-inch tile, and we drilled holes in it. And my son drew a picture of a cat, and then I outlined it. And then in my son's handwriting, he wrote, beware of killer cat. And we gave it to my uncle, and we gave him a hook to hang it next to his front door. And then the same Christmas, I made this for my son. And this was one of the things that I gave him for Christmas, was this beware of killer cow kitty. So my husband just ran and grabbed this. I'm going to probably have to replace the ribbon, or we're going to lose the sign here. This has been hanging for almost 10 years by our back door. So just a little fun thing. And Finny isn't foliage, but he likes to sleep under the hostas. Maybe. Let's see. Let's see. trying to get as many pieces of foliage in here as I can. It's a lot of foliage. So this flower is called Feverfew. I might have to put it over here. I'm just gonna stick Skinny Finny up here. And the white flower, Feverfew, if you have a book of herbs, it's actually listed in there, but it's a wonderful plant. And if you can find it at your garden center, it looks like a little daisy and it smells sweet. And once you get it, you will never get rid of it. And even if you step on it, you can't kill it. So if you are dying to have some lovely foliage in your yard, but you are not friendly to plants, Feverfew could be the one for you. I think you might have to live in the Midwest for that one. Although I think that it would probably grow about anywhere. I mean, you could probably grow it in the desert if you watered it enough, because it's very hardy. So there's some more foliage. And I had some purple, but I think... Okay, so what I want to do now is just want to continue this. And this is a stabilo, so, you know, when I wet it, it's gonna do its thing here. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but now you have, like, you know, the thought that it continues. And I am going, because I have this white and green, and I know this is dry now. I am just, it likes to be on the dry stuff. Taking that stamp, or that stencil that I did here, and I'm just outlining it. Because what this does, two things. First of all, it draws your eye to it. And even these that I only did part of, I'm just going to do part of them. And here I have that green one coming. I just kind of figure out, I'm going to do the green one over the top here, because this one will win, because we can kind of see more of it. I think that the key, because, you know, if you're looking at this and you're thinking, I wouldn't have done that, or how did you decide which one went to the front and which one went to the back? Well, what I decided was I could see more of the darker one, so I brought that one to the front. And the other thing is that I just decided, like, you just make a decision and then you do it, and that's it. And it's your journal, so you don't have to apologize. You know, you don't have to think about it. If you think too much, then you hesitate. And I do that. And sometimes I dive in and I do something and then I think, oh, that wasn't good. And Finny has these amazing whiskers. And so we need to give him these whiskers back over here. And I'm gonna go over these whiskers so that it kind of looks even. And there's my skinny Finny. And so we've got, you know, a little bit going on there. I have this little space right here, and I have this tiny little box. I have had these forever. I know that somebody's going to ask, where are they from? I think that they are from Michael's, but there is a really cute set on Amazon. And I'm going to stamp Foliage right here. Oh, I don't need that. This is my L. And one of the things that I'm going to tell you about stamping letters is I am not trying at all to get these in a straight line. I'm okay with it. Sometimes I get them in a straight line, but if I wanted them in a straight line, you can stamp it on another piece of paper and make a line, but who has time for all that? So just stamp. Oh, this whisker looks like it's disappearing. Finny deserves more than that. So there we go. And down here, a little bit to cut off the back. And you don't have to get crazy, but like I just cut this little green piece off, these little leaves. If we needed more leaves, we could stick them somewhere, but we're not going to get crazy. So there is that. Oh, I need to shut my ink. And I have this page where I printed all of the prompts again at like 60%. And I know it says Foliage there. I'm gonna put this Foliage right here. Just to be consistent. I'm going around it. With my Stabilo and my matte medium. And, oh, I forgot to cut here. Look at that. And the top of this page is torn, so. I tore that because the other page is torn and I didn't want it to look too perfect. I'll tear that one. Okay. See, now it looks like it goes with it. And that's it. Foliage, lots of foliage on that page. So I hope that you enjoyed watching me do this or crafting along with me. And if you were inspired by something that I did or you learned something, I would appreciate it if you would like or subscribe. And Let me know if you have a killer cow kitty in your house, because we love our killer cow kitties.